Hello, let's talk about why supporting handmade and repurposed products matter. Every year, millions of pounds of fabric, paper, and household materials end up in landfills. According to the United Nations Environment Program, the world generates 92 million tons of textile waste each year. Most people will walk past that reality and not think twice, but I don't. I see waste, but I also see opportunity. I see value and I see transformation. Hello, everyone. My name is Queen Wells, and I'm here to persuade you that supporting handmade and repurposed products matter. They matter for the environment, they matter for small business, and they matter for our local communities. We live in a society that has become so accustomed to a throwaway culture, where fast fashion and mass production makes items cheap and easy to replace. But that convenience comes at a price. Textile waste continues to grow every year, and most of it is not recycled. According to the United Nations Environment Program, a very small percentage of textile fibers are from recycled sources, and millions of tons, just millions of tons, discarded annually. And so that's where handmade and repurposed work matters. Repurposing material, it gives material a second life. Something that was once waste becomes clothing, art, decor, or functional design. In my own work, I use yarn, fabric, paper materials that others would discard and transform them into usable product. That's not just creativity, that's waste reduction in action. And supporting handmade products is an economic decision. When you buy from small creators or small crafters, you're not funding mass production systems. You're supporting individuals, you're supporting families, and you're supporting local entrepreneurs who rely on these crafts to build income and opportunity for themselves. And small vending circulates money back into our local communities and instead of funding large corporate systems. In fact, according to the U.S. Small Business Administration, small business accounts for 99.9% of all business in the United States, and they employ 46% of the private sector workforce. Handmade products also carry something that mass-produced items cannot replicate. They carry individuality. No two handmade items that you find are going to look the same. They're not going to be the same. They reflect culture. They reflect personality, creativity, and intention. That's why people don't just buy handmade items, they connect with them. In my own personal experience, I see how people respond to handmade and repurposed products. They ask questions. They engage. They want to hear the story behind the item. But I understand the discipline it takes behind the scenes, because I've spent years developing my craft of cake decorating and creating handmade art. Some people, they prefer to buy mass-produced items because it's cheaper, and that's understandable. But also understand that cheaper is not always better when you consider waste, uniqueness, and long-term value. Cheaper is not always better. So my challenge is simple. I challenge you to be more intentional about who you support and what you support. Whenever possible, choose handmade. Whenever possible, choose repurposed. Whenever possible, choose to shop with your small businesses in your community. Because every purchase is a vote for the kind of world that you want to live in. And supporting handmade work is not just a purchase. It is participation in creativity. It's participation in sustainability. And it's participation in economic growth. And with that, I thank you.